Let me start the recording then. This questions could help. Good. So your question is, how does CNG would work in our conventional car? Can that be fitted directly, or should some other attachment needs to be put in? Have you heard of fitting gas kits, like LPG gas kits to our petrol engines?
Yes, I've seen that. And that's also it. How does that work?
Yeah, so let's see about that, because that's already available kit. Mostly the Omni cars, Maruti Omnis used to generally run on that. It is very simple, not very difficult or different. It's not at all tough to do on your petrol engine, basically, not on diesel engine. It should run only on petrol engine. Instead of, there will be a fuel line that will be taking the petrol into your car, into your engine. Okay, you will be connecting another line to it, and connecting your outlet of your LPG gas to it. That's it. And of course, the calorific value or the heat content, the heat generated by petrol, like a unit quantity of petrol, okay, and the unit quantity of LPG, they could be different. Okay, that means the power generated when running on LPG versus the same engine while running on petrol could be different. Petrol generates more power than LPG run. LPG run on the same engine, but really doesn't make a huge difference when you are running. But since LPG is also cheaper, it also gives a very high mileage. So it's as simple technology as having one more line connected to your fuel line, and kind of have a valve. You stop petrol and allow gas to go in. Could be could be some more small mechanics here and there could be having there, but it's a simple thing.
So the same engine can work with both types of fuel.
Yes.
Interesting.
See, petrol engine or diesel engine or any other fuels, if the fuel is similar, you can actually feed different kinds of fuels for the same engine. Okay, and having said about LPG, CNG also is similar, very similar to it. LPG is propane and butane, which we use in our domestic cooking. This is propane and butane gas, right, of the hydrocarbons. That is LPG, that is liquefied petroleum gas, is mostly propane and butane. CNG, which is compressed natural gas, is mostly CH4, which is methane. Methane is having a little higher calorific value than propane, I think. Yeah, because it's a higher hydrocarbon, higher order hydrocarbon. So CH4, or rather, methane is higher heat content than propane. So it's the same. If you can run the same petrol engine with LPG, you can also run with CNG.
Acha. Okay.
Okay.
I won't probe this question further because any more chemistry.
Yeah, just about connecting to another question. Can you run with petrol engine with also different fuels? Petrol was one of the last fuels that was used and tested in the evolution of engine development. They had used about 900 plus fuels they have tried before coming into petrol. They have used the very early internal combustion engines were tried with wheat husk, rice husks, the husk, the solid fuels, and the wood chips, coal, whatnot, solid fuels, and then they came to liquid fuels.
Even today, the train engines still work on coal, no?
That's a steam engine. That's not internal combustion engine. It is like, that's a different technology altogether. That's the older coal engines where you simply heat water and run it through a engine, right? You make steam out of it and do it. It's a totally different technology. This is, you are, having combustion using this. Okay, not heating water, making steam and steam expand in some other chamber, not that. That's a steam engine. Okay, to that point, if you have seen, even about 10 years, no, not 10 years, like 15 to 20 years ago, I have seen in Bangalore, auto rickshaws, the 2-stroke auto rickshaws that we used to have, that used to make a lot of noise, used to run on kerosene.
Kerosene, correct.
Yeah. RX 100 used to wonderfully work on kerosene.
Oh.
Only after that, all the emission testing and all came into existence because people were, running petrol engines with kerosene left, right, center. Kerosene is way cheaper and doesn't give a huge, not very different with power generation, but mileage used to be quite high. So why put petrol? Kerosene would run, but used to create a lot of smoke. Yeah, but sure.
So let's say by mistake I have filled diesel instead of petrol in my car. Will that have any issues?
Don't run that vehicle. If you run it, you have to take the car to the service station, take the engine out and kind of scrap it.
Why is that so? You said it will run, right?
Petrol and diesel are very different fuels. Petrol engine is a lot more flexible with different fuels, not diesel engine.
So in a petrol car, I can put diesel.
Again, if you put a diesel into petrol car, maybe with some amount of internal repairs and servicing, you can bring it to life, but you end up having some issues.
But
don't try it with cars. If you really want to try it with some 100cc engines. Many engineering colleges had project reports trying different fuels like this.
But with kerosene, you told RX 100 was able to run, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That is totally different, or what?
It's not very different. The technology needed is the same. Spark plug is there. When it compresses, you ignite and it runs. Diesel engine, no spark plug. And the lubes used there, it's very different.
Okay. So there was one time when I was a child, one of my brother's friend, we were traveling in a car and by mistake they have filled in diesel instead of petrol. And he just said we cannot move now. So I didn't understand at that time what was. So we had to pull out the entire fuel out and then replace it or something. You have done.
Wise guy. That's a very wise decision. You saved the car. Purging out that is not a simple thing. You need to kind of purge it twice to ensure that no drop of diesel is there.
Entire night we were doing that.
Yeah.
So that, like, for even if you mix a little bit of water, also a disaster, no?
Oh yes, very much. It will clog the fuel lines. It's not just the engine. You need to change a lot of things.
Then Kaushik, in the petrol stations.
ये आवाज किधर से आ रहा है?
मेरे तरफ से.
अच्छा, I didn't see you on that video, so I thought omnipresent भगवान का आवाज आ रहा है इधर कहीं. Sorry.
ये आकाशवाणी है.
आकाशवाणी है.
So petrol stations, they do mixing and all. Now it is said that they can't do, it is not possible for them. But earlier a lot of mixing used to happen, and that is where they used to make money. So then how does it work? Like what I understand, they used to mix kerosene only in petrol and diesel, because kerosene is the cheapest available fuel.
They might
So-
be they might be mixing with petrol, but I doubt they can do it with diesel. I'm not expert in that. What I used to hear is that there were different different quality of fuels coming in, and they were actually pumping in some amount of low quality fuels also. I mean, it's still petrol with a lower octane number. Okay, you know this octane numbers, every fuel has an octane number. Okay, I'm also not like very much an expert in that, but people in that business who bring or who can source fuels, okay, they can have an access to different fuels or different grades of petrol of lower octane number and simply mix it. It's still petrol only, but with it's a lower quality petrol that is being taken out of the refinery. And if you mix it, it's still petrol, it runs like that, but your engine, I mean, it's not good fuel. You are paying high price for a lower fuel. It's adulteration. So that is when more laws have come in around that. But I know we have spoken a lot about this. There was another question.
Okay, Kaushik, I am changing the topic a bit. So this time when we were driving on our road trip, so we covered a lot of ghats, and we went to like Mullayanagiri and Peak and all those things. And eventually when we drove down from Ooty, what happened was our car, the brake kind of failed. Failed as in I had to press the brake pedal, whatever you call it, more to make the car stop. So in a way, the brake was not functioning well.
Okay.
So as soon as I just came down, I felt that, and we filled the petrol, and then I was feeling that my brake is not functioning well. I had to go down to the last ekdam in the niche tak, and then probably the car would stop.
Okay.
So immediately we went to the next workshop with the car workshop, and this guy said, he immediately said, "Did you come from Ooty?" So and then he mentioned that because you come downhill, there is something which happens. So the boiler, something the word used, that gets heated up. That's why the brake system kind of sort of collapses. So we'll have to let it cool down for a while. But then eventually he changed the brake fluid, and then it was all well.
Exactly. I was about to say that. Change the brake fluid and it should work. When you're coming downhill, you're applying a lot of brake. Okay. And when you're applying a lot of brakes, mean when you're applying a lot of brakes, there are different mechanics that happen. First of all, with the brake shoes, I mean, you are using Celerio, which has front brakes as disc brakes. Do you have disc brakes in the front? I think, right? You must be having disc brakes in the front two wheels and the drum brakes in the rear two wheels. And it so happens that mostly the front brakes tend to hold more. And they start getting heated up. Once they start getting heated up, the rubber, or that kind of it's not even rubber, it's kind of some kind of asbestos which is in the brake shoes, starts getting sticky. Okay, it's kind of slips. Okay, it tries to stop it, but it's kind of slipping because of the heat. It's not hard enough. It's become soft. Okay, and so you're pressing more because it's not stopping. So on the secondary level, because you are pressing more, the brake fluid is being pumped more, okay, to the maximum pressure that it can hold. So there are two things happening. Brake shoes has to be replaced or to be checked. It will mostly come back to normal once it gets cooled. That's what your mechanic also told. And as you are, pumping your brake fluids more, maybe your brake fluids will start oozing out of those leakage. I mean, of those gaskets. So you might be seeing some brake fluid being, oozed out of those in that area. So they will refill it. So it should work fine. Next time, when you are going in a ramp, when you're coming down a ramp for a long period of time, do not use the brakes much. I don't use brakes much when I'm coming down. I use engine braking. Drive in second gear when you're coming down. Engine is braking by itself. So you don't apply the entire load on the brakes.
So how does it work in automatic? When you have automatic, I don't know how the car will pick the gears by itself, right?
Oh man, that's interesting.
And it's going downhill.
I've never driven an automatic actually, except that I towed your vehicle.
So our car has manual, optional manual kind of thing also, where I can kind of manually shift gears. So in that, if I just switch to the manual thing and just give it a 2, then it should function that way, is it?
If you can do that, you should do that. When you are at second gear, there is a lot of engine torque. The engine itself doesn't want to simply fly like the way it happens in, like the way it happens in third or the fourth gear. So if you're keeping it second, the vehicle automatically is moving slow. And over that, if you apply smallest amount of braking, it should work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now,
so since we're talking about brakes, how is the ABS thing distinct from these disc brakes?
Disc brake, ABS is a feature added on the disc brake. Okay. ABS is not different. ABS is anti-lock braking system. If you go and see keenly how the disc brake is, it's just like this. That's the same way. Without ABS means it's just plain. With ABS, you have one more disc attached. Okay, one more disc attached with and if you take the disc out, it will be a ring with a lot of small slots in it. Okay, and there will be a sensor which will be always which will be always looking at that disc, not the disc brake, but the slotted disc which is pasted on the fixed on the disc of the disc brake. So this sensor will sense how quickly you're braking. When you're braking very quickly, then that means it's always looking at, it's always rotating, but suddenly it's kind of senses that it is stopping. That is when it knows that the braking is happening at a faster rate than expected. Then it will not, when you apply brakes, the brake clamp will just jam the disc so that the wheel stops. Okay, that is risky because it can skid the vehicle.
Correct.
Okay, it's like you're going on your bicycle and suddenly you apply your front or the back, it kind of skids, right? That used to be fun for us, but on vehicles it becomes a little scary because it can skid and vehicle can go out of your control when you're at 80 or 60 plus kilometers per hour speed. So when it senses that the driver is braking really fast, then at that point of it will not jam the brakes. It's just it kind of clamps like 100 times in a minute or like 100 times in a second. It holds, leaves, holds, leaves, holds, leaves, like in a very, very quick it does that operation so quickly that it is not skidding the vehicle. Before it skids, it would have left it. The wheel rotates a little, but by the time it rotates more, it again clamps and keeps doing that. So in that way, it stops the skids, and it's a wonderful technology.
So if we have ABS, then will it help address the kind of
no
sloping down that Pranav was talking about?
No, Pranav would not have applied brakes like this. He would be like gradually applying. Oh, it's not sufficient, apply more. It's not sufficient, apply more, like more. So ABS is not doing anything there.
So ABS is only for rapid brakes.
Yeah.
Like nice roadway, suddenly you will find a pothole.
Yeah.
Happens in Bangalore.
You take a turn and suddenly you see you're applying brakes and there's loose gravel, you're trying to skid. those kind of places.
Don't tell me Bangalore roads are bad, yaar. I think the Maharashtra is the leader in that.
Achha.
For us, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu,
Tell me
Kerala,
about
everything
it.
was like
There is-
awesome.
There was a stance
Kerala, no
difference.
doubt. Kerala roads are a class apart.
Oh yeah, they're really.
You can clearly notice if we are traveling to Kerala, the moment you cross Karnataka border, you will know it very clearly. The car will stop
Karnataka
vibrating.
is good,
and you'll know.
Prashant. I don't know. You've not been to Maharashtra, then I'm saying.
Achha. I've been to few roads in Maharashtra.
Kaushik will vouch for it.
Yeah. Okay, I need to know a couple of, one thing. We have pretty much covered many topics. Do we have anything more to discuss going
Yes,
forward, or can we
shift
pause
gear
after
to
this?
second hand and all of that.
Yes.
Today's is okay, but next week should we have this going? Because I don't think, or we can have these questions over chat also. I'm thinking, should we have this session?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe for
We
what?
can probably just capture sessions on chat, and once there is enough, you can probably call for a meeting.
Yeah, maybe we can do that. Yeah. So formally, let's have this meeting as the last one.
Sure.
Unless we have more questions.
So I have one
Right.
basic question.
Oh, second hand.
One moment.
Baat
Second
karo.
hand car, is it the same thing? We have not touched
Maybe
about
we
that.
can combine with that. I just
Hmm.
want to know, like, since you all have cars, I never bought a car. So let's say I want to buy a car. Okay. If I look at my need, only thing I'm looking at right now is I may not travel that much in car for office or any of such needs. If at all I need to travel, maybe I might want to make a road trip or something like that, which might happen yearly twice or something like that. Not like every day I will go around. It's not like that. So if that is the case, is it worth buying a car, or is it okay maybe using a Zoom car, or maybe buying a second-hand car? What all do you guys think?
Okay.
Thoughts?
Before Kaushik answers, I want to put
Okay,
it.
I was
used
about to
be-
say that this is not technical car analysis. This is financial analysis. So anybody can
Yes.
answer this.
Just that's why it's for everyone, because you all already started using cars, right? So,
I used to be a big believer of first-hand cars
okay.
until I bought my most recent car. I am now of the opinion that it's absolutely useless buying a fresh car, a brand new car, right? It financially, it makes zero sense whatsoever, right? The last car that I bought was a used Honda City. And see, it also depends on the places. In Bangalore, you get a ton of people who will buy cars for the sake of it, and few years later they will sell it, and they would have not even used it. I bought my Honda City 2014 model in 2019. That owner had used the car for all of 18,000 kilometers in 5 years. Full automatic car, उसने 6.5 lakhs में बेच दिया मुझे.
80,000 18?
I am 6.5. 2000?
नहीं 80,000 kilometers या 18?
18, 18.
Oh wow, good one.
18,000 किलोमीटर उसने ड्राइव किया था, and I bought it for 6.5 lakhs, right? And Honda itself vetted the car, and they said they've done service and everything. It's a great car and everything. So I went and met this gentleman. He's a industrialist. You have these, like, I don't know, see in Bangalore, Cunningham Road appa. That guy is one of those Cunningham Road Muslim, has more money than Bill Gates kind of a guy, right? मतलब उसका घर शुरू होता है, अंत किधर हुआ मुझे आज तक पता नहीं है. मतलब बड़ा सा घर है. His garage had 5 cars. He had Range Rover and Jaguar, बड़े कार Honda City. ठीक है? I asked him, what did you use this car for? He said, मैं सब्जियां लेने के लिए यूज कर रहा था. Right? चलेगा, मेरे को सब्जियां वाला कार चलेगा. So I bought that car. Brilliant, beautiful car, right? I still date, I have zero issues with it. Cars 24 even gave me a warranty on that car for 1 year. उस 1 year में जितने भी problems आए, सारे के सारे fixtures मेरे को free में मिल गए. I get a 15 kilometer per liter mileage even within the city. I have zero issues. When I bought it, my younger brother got a little more ambitious. He said, "TK, yaar, I have always wanted to buy a BMW." So he started attending all of these TIE events, the Indus Entrepreneurs का events जो होता है, मतलब funding raise करने के लिए you meet VCs and all. No, he just started. वो funding के लिए नहीं, कार वाले के साथ shake hand करने के लिए meet करना शुरू कर दिया. He found this one VP who was quitting India and going to US, who wanted to sell his BMW. 55 lakh rupees car, 55 lakh rupees wala car, he got it at 10 lakh rupees.
Praveen drives a BMW now?
No, my younger brother, Karthik.
Oh man.
He buys and in all honesty, it's a shitty car. I don't like it.
Okay.
Right? बहुत घटिया कार है. The leg room and everything. बोलने के लिए बड़ा सा कार है. डिक्की का बहुत ज्यादा स्पेस है. अंदर बैठने के लिए जगह नहीं है. ठीक है? I don't like it much. But anyway, so he wanted to drive a BMW. It's got a very good road grip and everything. See, the benefit, Abhilash, is this. You buy a 6.5 lakh rupees used car, use it for 4 years and you sell it. It will still have a resale value of 4 lakhs. But you buy a brand new Honda City for 17 lakhs. 4 years later, you sell it for 6.5 lakhs.
A week later, you sell it. You have to shell off that 1.5 lakh rupees of road tax you have given. Nobody will pay that.
Nobody will pay that.
Yeah. Even after a week after you bought it. If you want to sell it, that's it. 1.5 lakh gone.
So it's an utter waste of money. And the second thing is, since you are saying you only want to drive when you absolutely need it for like long trips and everything, Zoom Car is a brilliant option.
Yep.
I have used Zoom Car service also. Aajkal to they come home, they give you the car and they go. If your driving license is good, you don't have a driving, crime history or whatever, you get cars of your choice. Try out all cars, no problem. Buying a fresh car is not great financially. That's my.
What is typically the rent of a Zoom car? Like one day, I of course it will vary up as per the car, but typical say.
Yeah. So 2000, I think 2015 or 16, I don't know. Maybe now it is different. 2015 or 16, I had gone for a 5-day road trip in Ford Figo. Everything, including diesel, at that point had costed me 3,000 rupees.
For the whole
day.
Per day.
No, all inclusive, all 5 days inclusive. It was 3,000. 2015 की बात कर रहा हूँ. They were brand
Not
new
possible.
at that time.
What it is?
At that time
could have been 6,000 now, probably.
It could be 6,000 now. This is including fuel. They even pay for your fuel.
But will there be something related to number of kilometers you ride or something?
While booking, you have to declare how many days, how many kilometers.
2.5
For
years
that
ago,
much, they will give you a package.
2.5 years ago, I drove a Swift for a day, and it costed me 900 rupees. Yeah,
It's really not bad.
For the
You
car.
can, yeah.
For the car only, not the fuel, right?
I think it is including fuel because Zoom Car typically gives
that was without fuel because it was some other package. So 900 plus about 200 rupees fuel. I just filled it up before I gave it because that's the only.
But I think it's just a better deal, I believe, Abhilash. If you want to just use it for a couple of trips a year, say as a whole 1 month, 30 days, 30,000 or whatever, maybe 45,000 now. Still, it makes a sense. To go for that. And I think it will be covering a lot of things because they will be providing you on-road service. Something goes wrong. So rather than you fetching and managing all those things.
Yeah.
And they take care of their cars. It's well serviced. They give you a washed car because usually what happens is when I want to go on a road trip, I take the car out and get it washed and come back because road trip you don't want to keep breathing the stale AC air, which you're okay to do in Bangalore because, in the city, because it's just a few minutes of drive. But on a long drive, you want to clean it and everything. They do all of it. And you can rent these fancy cars for a few days. You'll probably be okay to rent a really expensive car for a 3-day trip just for the kicks of it than having to buy the car. It's not at all a good idea to buy a brand new vehicle. It makes no financial sense. Unless you are specific about it for some emotional reason.
And in fact, now the road trip ke liye bhi they have specially designed cars, which they provide fridge and they have like kitchen and everything set up, everything. Like so it's a bit high end, but yeah.
It's a
Like these
caravan.
RVs.
Sorry.
Like these RVs, like Swadesh wala RVs.
Caravans.
Not necessarily RVs, but these are like SUVs or those kind of things. So something converted internally to maybe even sleep. They have fridge inside. They would have that cooking platform sort of a thing made. So all well designed, internally, especially for road trip. Yeah,
very nice.
Bit on the expensive side, maybe 3,000-4,000 per day. But yeah, again, that's an option. It's a luxury road trip kind of thing.
Sorry, I missed.
Why not?
Disconnected. So we are telling something about road trip. Pranav, I missed yours.
Pranav said that there are different, modifications done on some of the SUVs purely for road trips, like a bed, convertible bed, and a refrigerator and all that. Much a little expensive.
So there are specially designed cars available. So those cars also, and they have their GPS and everything, inbuilt. Very, very sophisticated in all regards.
Okay.
So.
And what was the other question on used cars?
Yeah, used cars. Like, how do you know? Like, what are the parameters you look at to see if it's a good car? It will last at least for a few years or not, and those.
Okay, first thing, I mean, it's an art more than a science. You need to know. You should have actually driven cars sufficiently to know it. That this is my personal take on it. It is like the amount of vibration you're getting when you start the car, and mostly if you touch the surface of the car, I mean, you will mostly get to know if there are if any of the body part has been tinkered or not. It won't be really smooth. You can see some kind of undulation only if you can feel it. Okay. Mostly if you go for Cars 24 kind of any of the new age auto dealers of used cars, they will do a pre-check of from the dealer itself or from the car manufacturer itself if there is any major breakdown. So that is a best thing. Okay, I don't have to. Recently the Mahindra Thar I took, I didn't have to go check for those kind of things because they would have done the pre-check for that. Yeah. However, the first thing you need to see is how many kilometers it has run in how many years. Okay. If you're seeing about 10,000 kilometers run per year, it's a moderately driven car. If you are seeing something like 25,000, 30,000 kilometers run per year, kind of an average, that's not a good one. Okay. And if it's lesser than that, it's always better. I got my Thar with 1.5 to 2 years run, and it was run for 6,000 kilometers. Oh. So the driver actually didn't know how to use this vehicle after buying it, probably. And it was.
I think Kaushik has driven 6,000 kilometers in the 3 months after he bought the car.
It's already what, 15,000 or something now.
Yeah.
In a year.
So Kaushik, while buying a second-hand car, would you be also very, very specific about, like, say, I would only buy a Maruti or a Honda, not a Korean car, something of that kind of thing?
No, not like that. Korean cars are really good. Hyundai, Kia, fantastic. They outbeat Maruti left, right, center. I have been driving my Hyundai Getz for 17 years. No other car has come even close to that. Even with respect to aftermarket service also. After they sold the car, the service I get in Hyundai is like 50, 60 times better than the service I used to get in Mandavi Motors of Maruti earlier. The engine sophistication is a lot better in the new age Korean cars than the Japanese cars. Toyota is doing horrible cars nowadays. There was a time when Toyota used to run for 100,000 miles. What do you call that? 100,000 miles or something they used to have in the US. Okay, they are so reliable. They used to be that reliable. Today's Toyota is shit. If you want to go for Toyota, go for the Fortuner or the Corolla. not the Toyota Etios.